Hey, this is Alan from RVAcrossAmerica.net, and you can see that this is going to be at RVAcrossAmerica.net/commute. I want to welcome you to my morning commute. You're seeing early morning here in Victor, Idaho. It's where I'm spending the winter. I'll be here for the next several months. I'm recording this in December, and I serve as a ski instructor on the other side of the mountain range. And frankly, I have what is probably the most scenic commute in the nation. This is the town of Victor. We're driving through it at like triple speed. You have a number of small restaurants, and my post, which again is rvcrossamerica.net/commute, talks about some of these restaurants that are in Victor and the kind of place that it is. We're now on the on the beginning of the Teton Pass on the west side. The Teton Pass connects Victor, Idaho, and Driggs, Idaho, frankly, and Grand Targhee, Wyoming, with, on the east side, the Teton Valley of Wyoming. They're both called the Teton Valley. The Teton Valley of Wyoming includes the town of Wilson, which is the first town that you hit when you're headed eastbound off the pass. And then, of course, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, which is where I am all winter long. Again, you're looking at this in about triple speed, but we're actually traveling. When the roads are dry, you can be doing this stretch at 55. That's the speed limit in this area, and most people are going to do the speed limit. You begin to hit these S-turns, and the S-turns, of course, are going to force you to slow down a little bit. And of course, you're not going to get dry roads all that often in the winter. This was recorded in late October. This is one of my commutes up here. And again, in my view, and you can challenge me on it, it is probably the most scenic travel in the nation, the most scenic commute in the nation. That was the peak. We're going to get back to the peak in a moment because this is about a month later. And what we're doing here is traveling it the same stretch, but now it's snow and ice packed. Still moving probably at about 45-50 miles an hour through here. You kind of get used to it. This is a drive that has been described as white knuckle by people who drive it in the summer. And here I am doing this every day, along with hundreds, if not thousands, of other people. So it's not a drive that's unique at all. There are a lot of people that live on the Victor and Driggs, Idaho side and travel across into the Wyoming's Teton Valley on a daily basis or a near daily basis. And I'm doing this about 4 or 5 days a week. It is scenic. It is inspiring. It's beautiful. And I definitely highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, but you've got to have the right vehicle. You have to have patience. Probably the biggest risk is some of the other drivers, and I talk about the risks in my post, again at rvacrossamerica.net/commute. And I talk about the risks of crossing the Teton Pass. It's about a 2,200 foot rise from the town of Victor or from the town of Jackson on either side, and the pitches are upwards of 10%. So they're pretty significant. The pitches are actually quite significant going up here. And we're again approaching the peak. There are cars along the side because people come up here, park, and then hike higher to go backcountry skiing. Now this is just a few days ago. When we get a significant amount of snow, because snow slides, avalanches are an issue. Here you have one. This one was triggered, man-triggered, human-triggered, through blasting, so that they could bring the snow down and then plow it off, and then reopen the road. The road was closed for a total of about 3 hours. A far better solution than having somebody get buried. Now we're back on daytime travel. This is now going down the pass. Again, 10% grades on both sides of the pass. This was an absolutely spectacular morning. You can see the Teton Valley in front of you. I've got some photos that are truly inspiring on the post. Again, rvacrossamerica.net/commute. Definitely welcome your thoughts on that, on what you see there. The S curves here, you do have to watch your speed. They are marked at about 20 to 25, 30, 35 miles per hour. And I tend, driving in a 4x4 pickup truck, when the road is dry, I'll go at those speeds or higher, the way most people will. But when the road becomes snow covered, ice covered, naturally you've got to dial it back a little bit. But again, there are long stretches of sustained 10% grades, especially on this side, heading down eastbound into the town of Wilson, and a few miles up, Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, and then a few miles beyond that, you've got Jackson. Of course, Jackson is the gateway to Grand Teton National Park. The Tetons are an amazing mountain range with peaks upwards of about 13,000 feet. Jackson Hole itself has over a 4,100 foot vertical drop, and you saw there a truck blow by me even though I was moving pretty well. You do get some aggressive drivers, and that's what I mean is one of the hazards. Obviously, snow slides are another one of the hazards. That does happen. So you've got to be careful, but it's inspiring just driving along this stretch. We again continue our way down, and again this is about triple the normal speed, so it's about 1/3 the time in the video of what this really is. My commute from my campsite in Victor over to the Stilson lot, which is where people park. It's the free parking area, approximately 7 miles south of the ski area lifts. It's a transit center, and they run buses literally every few minutes in the morning. My commute from Victor to the Stilson lot on dry roads is literally just 23 minutes. And this is the town of Wilson that we were just approaching there. It's a very small town, just a few stores, a couple of restaurants, and a bar. Now again, this is the same stretch, but now with snow and ice on it. And since then, this was at the end of November, the snow and ice has of course become more prevalent, and the banks are getting bigger and bigger to the point where you can't even see the guardrail. But as you've seen on dry roads, this is actually a reasonably wide road. I really did get a kick out of people calling it a white knuckle drive, because on dry roads, this is really one of the better mountain passes that you could go through. And again, both towns are about 6,200 feet above sea level, and the top of the pass is just over 8,400 feet. Once again, you're going to see vehicles parked along the side, not that guy with his flashers, but other cars that park along the side, because people go into the backcountry here and go skiing. They skin up and then they ski down. And sometimes, if they don't know what they're doing, they are a hazard that can create a snow slide. That actually happened last year, one morning, where people were on their way across from Idaho into Wyoming, and they got turned around when somebody who was skiing above them triggered a snow slab, and naturally you had a whole bunch of commuters that weren't too happy. When this road does close for a unplanned avalanche, where they've got to spend several hours clearing up the mess, there is a way around, but it usually is like an hour and a half to 2 hour drive. Whereas, like I say, I can make it in 23 minutes to the Stilson lot, approximately 30 to 35 minutes into the town of Jackson. Putting snow and ice on the ground, you're adding approximately 10 minutes to the commute. It's not a bad commute, even on snow and ice, and you just have to know how to gear up and gear down so that you're not riding your brakes down this. I've got it to a science where if I touch my brakes once on the way down on either side, that's it. Everything else is gearing down to second gear. My truck is equipped with an air brake, and I use that air brake to help mitigate kind of like half gear positions, 2.5 and 3.5 on the gears. That helps me to keep the truck under control and make sure that I'm not going too fast for any of these curves. And needless to say, when there's snow or ice on the ground, I am in the 4x4 position, so that I keep the truck safe and secure and stable. There's also a commuter bus that runs, and I'll be using that periodically during the winter as well. They run 4 buses in the morning from Idaho into Wyoming, and 4 buses in the evening from Wyoming back to Idaho. With that said, Alan from RVAcrossAmerica.net /commute. You guys have a great day, and look forward to hearing from you your thoughts on this drive.